All right. Uh, Hello to our book community and our favorite readers. Thank you so much for spending time with Charlesbridge sales marketing team this afternoon and joining our conversation. I'm Jaleesa Burwell, and I'm joined by my colleagues Meg Quinn and Lindsay Atkins, as well as Rachel Duty in the chat, as we take a look at our spring 2026 list. As we're chatting live today, we'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to drop your thoughts, comments, and questions into the comments section and join the conversation. By engaging in the chat, you are also entering our giveaway for free books. Each section will pose a question at the beginning for you to answer as you listen along. One random winner will be selected at the end of each section. All you have to do is answer the section question in the chat for a chance. Please make sure that your display name lists both your first and last name or your first name and your organization so we can match winners with our registration list. We'd appreciate it as we'll be following up with you after the webinar today to claim your prize. And a friendly reminder that by pre-registering and joining us live today, you'll also receive a copy of Ways Poppy Says I Love You, written by Delia Ruiz. We're dropping a link in the chat now so you can let us know where you'd like your copy sent. You can expect to receive your copy hot off the press later in 2026. With that, let's talk about some books. Turning it over to you, Lindsay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our preview. Now, I have the section Tales for Tots, and when I think of board books or toddler books, people normally think of the ABCs or 1, 2, 3s. What I love about these next couple of books is that they defy that belief and really go above and beyond in showing that the youngest readers can be introduced to many different and important concepts. So my question for this section today is, if you could pick one, quote, toddler story every kid should hear before kindergarten, what would it be and why? So first up on our list, we have the gorgeous Sometimes We Pray. Discover the beautiful and diverse ways people around the world pray through movement, stillness, and connection. Sometimes We Pray is a luminous celebration of spirituality and human expression that invites children to see prayer as something shared across cultures, faiths, and even beyond religion itself. From quiet meditation to joyful dance, this book gently reminds us that prayer can look and sound different everywhere. Yet it's always about our relationship with the world and with one another. Perfect for storytime discussions around empathy, respect, and global awareness. Sometimes We Pray supports social emotional learning by fostering appreciation for diverse beliefs and traditions. Available as both a picture book and a sturdy board book, this title makes a meaningful gift for families, faith communities, or even classrooms exploring world cultures and spirituality. Fans of God's Dream by Desmond Tutu will find the same warmth and inclusivity here. A timely and uplifting reminder that there are many ways to pray, and every one of them connects us. Now up, we have our favorite, everybody's favorite, Ruth Spiro. Our favorite science author is back with Baby Loves Robotics. Looking for the perfect blend of adorable and educational for your youngest readers? The Baby Loves Science board books have a new edition, and this time, Baby's got a robot dog. In Baby Loves Robotics, little listeners explore what makes a robot and how it works, all through bright, engaging illustrations and simple, accurate language. It's science made sweet and smart, designed to spark curiosity in babies and toddlers while sneaking in real STEM learning for grown-ups too. This newest title continues the Baby Loves Science tradition. Over 600,000 copies sold since 2016. It's delivering expert-reviewed, age-appropriate science that celebrates diversity and shows every baby can be a scientist. Perfect for story time, gift tables, and STEM displays, Baby Loves Robotics pairs perfectly with how to explain robotics to a grown-up for a fun cross-age learning. Now, from the beloved Chicken Soup for the Soul brand comes a sweet new board book perfect for your youngest readers. In Brave Little Otter, It's Okay to Wait, Little Otter and Dad are off for a fun beach day. But when Dad suggests a swim, Little Otter isn't so sure. The water's cold, the waves are big, and maybe it's just not the right time yet. With gentle encouragement, play, and a brand new friend, Lil Otter learns that bravery isn't always about diving in. Sometimes it's about knowing when you're ready. This tender story models SEL learning themes of courage, patience, and self awareness, ideal for storytime discussions or SEL lessons about trying new things and handling change. Back Matter offers tips for parents and educators to support children through those new experiences, and the companion website provides extra resources and activities. And that's all I have for today. So the giveaway question again is, if you could pick one toddler story every kid should hear before kindergarten, what would it be and why?
I'm always amazed by what people can do with board books and
I
what
know.
information they can share.
I love a good
Oh my
board book.
And the cute factor, man. That's the thing with board books too. The cute factor plus the factual accuracy in so many. That's crazy. It's a talent for sure.
All right, going back to me now for A Family Affair. This next section celebrates connection, curiosity, and care across generations. These stories celebrate the many ways families learn, laugh, and grow together. From cozy library visits to joyful baby moments and curious young minds, these books honor the bonds that make every family unique. Our giveaway question is, what's a book you love reading with children, and what makes it such a great bonding experience? I repeat, what's a book you love reading with children, and what makes it such a great bonding experience? Be sure to answer in the chat for a chance to win. Imagine stepping into your local library on a sunny afternoon and being surrounded by discovery, curiosity, and comfort all at once. That's the heart of A Family of Readers. Written by Rob Sanders and illustrated by Gabby Binda, this is a joyful celebration of libraries as community spaces. In this story, a family rushes through the library doors to read, search, and explore. Each family member finds their own adventure. Dad joins bakers learning to make bread. Mom finds mechanics who can help with the car. And the older kids reach for the stars with their friends. The youngest stays curled up with his book, completely absorbed, reminding us how powerful reading can be for everyone. As increasing book bans threaten access, this story invites families to embrace libraries as powerful, welcoming spaces for learning and community. Young readers are encouraged to explore, discover, and celebrate what their libraries have to offer. It's a perfect book for families, classrooms, and library lovers everywhere. Nothing like that baby hair, baby wavy baby hair. Next up is Love That Baby Hair. This is a joyful, rhythmic story celebrating the beauty and diversity of baby hair, written by Aaliyah Agostini and illustrated by Sawyer Cloud. From barely there fuzz to bouncy curls and proud little puffs, this playful picture book highlights the many styles, textures, and personalities of newborn and toddler hair. Through fun musical language and vibrant illustrations, readers are invited to delight in every strand, from first curls to first haircuts, and to celebrate what makes each child unique. Perfect for ages 3 to 7, this heartwarming read aloud encourages confidence, self-love, and pride in our differences. Love That Baby Hair is a cheerful reminder that every twist, curl, and wisp tells its own story, and that every kind of hair is worth celebrating. Now, it's time to flip the script on parenthood with It's a Mom, written by Abby Cooper and illustrated by Eliana Gutierrez. It's now the baby's turn to take care of mom in this playful and heartwarming picture book. With tongue-in-cheek humor, this how-to guide teaches little ones all about how to take care of their new moms with feedings, naps, and lots of love. Between giggles and relatable moments, It's a Mom gently acknowledges what mothers truly experience, the exhaustion, self-doubt, and the constant balancing act, while also celebrating their strength, tenderness, and resilience, reminding moms everywhere that they're doing an amazing job. Through the innocent eyes of a baby, this book becomes a beautiful love letter to motherhood, reminding every mom that she's seen, valued, and more than enough. Featuring diverse families and everyday moments, It's a Mom is the perfect read aloud for children's ages 2 to 5 and a thoughtful gift for new parents or Mother's Day. Our next book also flips the script, but this time with a real expert, the kid. How to Explain Aerospace Engineering to a Grown-Up, written by Ruth Spiro and illustrated by Teresa Martinez, is the next book in the How to Explain Science to a Grown-Up series. This story is clever and empowering STEM picture book filled with fun facts as an enthusiastic narrator takes charge, teaching grown-ups all about how birds, airplanes, and spacecrafts fly. With playful humor and clear explanations, readers learn about air pressure, lift, thrust, and drag, proving that even the most complex science can be understood when explained by a confident kid. Packed with engaging illustrations, speech bubbles, and a handy glossary, this book makes learning about aerospace engineering both exciting and accessible. It's perfect for curious children ages 4 to 8 and for any grown-up ready to be schooled by their favorite little scientist. A smart, inclusive, and empowering read from the best-selling author Ruth Spiro of Baby Loves Science, How to Explain Aerospace Engineering to a Grown-Up celebrates curiosity, confidence, and the joy of discovering how things fly. And that wraps up the section, A Family Affair. Reminder, the giveaway question was, what's a book you love reading with children, and what makes it such a great bonding experience?
There are so many good book recommendations in this comment section that
Are you all watching the chat? I'm just adding to my need that from the library. Need that from the library.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, as many of you have experienced, kids are consistently on the go, active in so many different parts of life. So sitting and reading can sometimes be a struggle. Here are some books that mesh the active lifestyle or active interests with fabulous storytelling. So my question for this section is, how do you use books about being active to inspire movement or play in your students or storytime groups? Answer for a chance to win. So first up, I'm very excited to talk about Remember Her Name. From New York Times bestselling author Tammy Charles comes an inspiring poetic biography of a true American icon, the unstoppable Debbie Allen. Growing up in the Jim Crow South, young Debbie dreamed of becoming a dancer, but when she was denied entry to her local dance school because she was Black, her mother refused to let that be the end of the story. Together, they moved to Mexico, where Debbie studied at the Ballet Nacional de Mexico, and when she returned home, she became the Houston Ballet Foundation's first Black dancer. Tammy Charles, drawing on personal interviews with Debbie Allen herself, brings this story of perseverance, creativity, and courage to life through lyrical text and radiant illustrations. Perfect for classrooms and libraries, this picture book connects beautifully to lessons on the civil rights movement, women's history, and the arts, while inspiring readers to chase their dreams no matter the barriers. There are no other picture books about Debbie Allen, making this a standout edition for collections celebrating trailblazing Black women and the power of self-belief. Fans of All Because You Matter and young dancers everywhere will be captivated because, as Debbie Allen proves, when you've got that magic, the world will know your name. But we'll fit all the fame jokes we can in here. Next up, we have The Avian Adventurers, Snowy Owl Rescue, Raptor Recovery. Think bird watching is boring? Think again. In The Snowy Owl Rescue, the first in the brand new Avian Adventurers chapter book series, adventure takes flight as friendship, teamwork, and nature collide. When soccer star Michael spots a rare snowy owl on his goalpost, thanks to Jet, a bird nerd and proud member of the Junior Birdwatching Club, he's pulled into a whirlwind mission to save the injured bird during a raging snowstorm. As the kids rally together, they discover what it truly means to care for nature and for each other. Perfect for readers ages 7 to 10, this short, fast-paced story is ideal for reluctant and emerging middle grade readers. Each book in the series features a diverse cast, including Jet, a non-binary character, and includes back matter about real bird species, combining science, mystery, and heart. With only 160 pages, spot art, and even a collectible poster puzzle that grows with the series, The Avian Adventurers will hook readers who love the Babysitter's Club and outdoor adventures. From acclaimed author Heidi Stemple, known for You Nest Here with Me and I Am the Storm, this book is perfect for classrooms, nature clubs, and libraries looking to inspire curiosity and compassion, one feathered friend at a time. Now, I'm very excited about this one. I'm going to pose a question. Imagine this: your favorite baseball team playing a game, but not at night. First thing in the morning, with ushers and nightgowns and cornflakes instead of popcorn. Based on true events, Baseball for Breakfast is a delightful slice of American history told through the eyes of Jimmy, a young Black boy growing up during World War II. When Jimmy's dad goes overseas and his mom starts working nights in a factory, everything changes until Jimmy meets the Milwaukee Brewers owner and helps inspire a brand new idea: morning baseball games, so night shift workers can catch the action too. This heartwarming picture book celebrates resilience, community, and family, while shining a light on a fascinating and little-known piece of baseball history. Perfect for read-alouds. It connects beautifully to World War II history, women in the workforce, and Black joy, making it an engaging choice for classrooms, libraries, and history units alike. I'm very excited about that one as a baseball fan myself. So my question again to all of you: how do you use books about being active to inspire movement or play in your students or storytime groups? Answer in the chat.
A lot of great answers. I kind of want to go back to elementary school now just to do some of them in class.
I know, right? I was a mover in elementary school. I could have used these.
I know. Well, and what great timing too, especially with daylight savings. That it's getting darker earlier. Kids are spending a little bit more time inside, and so I, for one, am like, yes. What can we do to get the wiggles out, please and thank you.
All right, we're back to me with Nature Matters. Welcome to Nature Matters, a section dedicated to stories that explore our connection to the natural world and our responsibility to care for it. From pioneers of climate science to tales of hope and friendship, these books inspire readers of all ages to protect, appreciate, and live in harmony with our planet. The giveaway question for this section is: which topics would you like to see more in children's books in relation to climate science? I repeat, which topics would you like to see more in children's books in relation to climate science? Be sure to answer in the chat. Our first book in this section is a powerful novel in verse shining a light on a remarkable woman nearly lost in history. Footprint, Eunice Newton Foote at the Dawn of Climate Science and Women's Rights by Lindsay Metcalf brings to life the story of Eunice Newton Foote, the first woman to identify carbon dioxide as a cause of climate change and a pioneer who challenged the boundaries of science and gender in the 1800s. In 1856, Eunice Newton Foote discovered the connection between a carbon dioxide and a warming planet, decades before anyone else. Yet, as a woman and a suffragist in a world that silenced female voices, her groundbreaking work was ignored. Through lyrical verse and meticulous research, Footprint traces Eunice's journey from the Seneca Falls Convention to the early days of American science, where her courage and curiosity challenged both societal norms and the limits of knowledge. Perfect for teens and adults alike, this stunning exploration of young women's fight for truth and recognition honors a forgotten pioneer whose discoveries still echo in today's fight against climate change. Fun fact: Lindsay's meticulous research led her to possibly finding the first known portrait of Eunice, and if you're curious about the photo, you should purchase a copy of the book. Our next title brings together some of today's most powerful young adult voices in a collection that blends imagination, urgency, and hope. Onward, 16 climate fiction short stories that inspire hope, edited by Nora Shalloway Carpenter, features an incredible lineup of authors, including Erin Entrada Kelly and Jeff Zettner. These stories explore what it means to protect our planet and each other through speculative, dystopian, and realistic stories told in prose, verse, and essays. Onward shows that even small actions can spark big change. With a rich variety of perspectives and a practical guide for real-world impact, this anthology reminds readers that hope is necessary. I like to read a short quote from Nasa Beaumont, environmental scientist and children's writer. Whether you are feeling hopeful or frustrated about the climate crisis or somewhere in between, Onward, 16 climate fiction short stories to inspire hope is a captivating example of how the power of story can build resilience, activate hope, uncover blind spots, and unstick us from our complacency. The fear and anger many of us feel right now is matched with equal humor, insight, and beauty in this diverse collection of stories. The final title in this section is a charming story of friendship, teamwork, and summertime fun. At the Summer Lake, written and illustrated by Daniela Culat, follows Squirrel, who dives into the cool water on a hot day, only to discover he can't get back out. With the help of his friends Fox, Crow, and Mouse, Squirrel learns the importance of compassion, cooperation, and caring for one another. Gentle, funny, and beautifully illustrated, At the Summer Lake is a perfect read aloud for summer that reminds young readers that helping a friend can make even the hottest days feel a little cooler in this perfect social emotional picture book. It's a heartwarming addition to Daniela Culat's beloved seasonal collection, joining in the winter woods and in the autumn forest and celebrating friendship through every season. This wraps up our Nature Matters section. As a quick reminder, our giveaway question was, which topics would you like to see more in children's books in relation to climate science?
I feel like there are tons of topics in here from pre-K all the way through high school too in the chat.
I know, I'm reading these and I'm like, wow, I could really see a picture book like that, or just a book in general.
Yep. And I'm loving the love for Footprint, because that's definitely one that we heard, okay, so it's going to be a YA novel and verse about Eunice Foote. And I think all of us went, can somebody please tell me who Eunice Foote is? And also tell me a little more. And this is just this beautiful combination of impeccable research by Lindsay Metcalf, this great framing of a novel in verse. And by the way, just cool science too. This is one of those, of course we need to know who Eunice Foote is. Of course history has not given her her due yet, but she's coming. And the beautiful cover.
Yeah. Putting those all together, masterpiece.
Yes, please. All right. So I'm going to talk about something called Every Mood is Right. And I just feel like that's accurate as the school year has started off. Big feelings are tough, and no mood, emotion, or reaction is wrong. But some take a bit more to understand, deal with, and learn from, as well as a bit of help from us grown-ups. Have we got resources for you for a lot of these big feelings or big events that provoke a big reaction? As we dive in, I invite you to share what's your favorite picture book to help kids with big feelings. One more time, what's your favorite picture book to help kids with big feelings? All right, first up, from award-winning author Leslie Newman comes Something Sweet, a Shiva story about grief and remembrance, Jewish culture and connection, and learning how to support a friend. So Lizzie's never experienced Shiva before, and when she and her mom arrive at Joshua's house, Lizzie is determined to cheer up her friend who is mourning the loss of his grandfather. But Joshua isn't in the mood for their usual puzzles or magic tricks. He misses his favorite baking partner. And as Lizzie participates in the Jewish customs of Shiva, she begins to learn a new meaning of friendship. Maybe all Joshua needs right now is someone to listen. Something Sweet balances themes of processing grief, experiencing another culture, and learning how to be a good friend, and does so with tender care. Now, Shiva is centrally a Jewish custom, and Leslie Newman is at the top of the list of respected and celebrated Jewish authors creating content for children about the Jewish faith and Jewish customs. Her track record speaks for itself, with her own previous book from Charlesbridge, Welcoming Elijah, winning both the Cindy Taylor Book Award and the National Jewish Book Award. Now, beyond the cultural connections, I do think fans of The Rabbit Listened will appreciate how this book is about how to become a supportive friend to someone who needs it, whether it's just sitting with them quietly or letting them talk. And I'm seeing a lot of The Rabbit Listened in the chat, so clearly I'm right. Written for ages 5 to 8, Something Sweet is a kid-friendly book about tough subjects, handling the difficult theme of death with grace, humor, and honesty. And all, by the way, with age-appropriate content. All right. Speaking of age-appropriate content, here's a question about the next one that's a powerful gut punch to any of us trying to raise responsible, emotionally intelligent boys. Men don't cry, right? So friends, meet Neil, who can tell he's growing up a bit and isn't exactly sure how to grow up to be a man. Surely they'll teach him that at school, right? He starts by trying to observe the men acting manly around him, in his family, in his community, in his books, and on TV. He tries to be just like them, taking some stereotypical behavior. He's aggressive in a game. He laughs at others when they make mistakes and takes risks like riding without a helmet to appear brave and fearless. But all these things don't feel right to Neil. They don't feel like him. And he ends up in tears at the school nurse, who also happens to be a guy. After Neil blurts out between sobs that men don't cry, the nurse gets down on his level, gives him a hug, and says, "Cry as much as you need," confirming that he, the nurse, also does, and gives Neil permission to feel and express all of his feelings. This is an SEL title for sure, on being yourself, that will appeal to fans of A Boy Like You. And Men Cry is the perfect picture book for ages 3 to 7 to explore gender roles, accept big feelings, no matter your gender, and celebrate individuality with kids while reading with their grown-ups. Please, 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 I beg you, share this one with parents, teachers, school counselors, storytime leaders, anyone who will appreciate that Neil is encouraged not only to be himself, but to emote and show his feelings. Because y'all, men do cry. All right. Now we're continuing our theme of quality, approachable SEL texts with The Cloud That Stuck, a timely mental health children's picture book whose story is full of love, support, and understanding as little Tansy learns to adapt to a new situation. Whoosh! When a wind blows in, a cloud gets stuck over Tansy. Everyone tries to get it off her head, including her dad, her teacher, and her best friend. But the cloud won't budge, and then the cloud rains on her. Having a cloud overhead feels like the worst possible thing in the world until Tansy gets rain boots and an umbrella. She plants a garden and waters it with her handy, always present cloud. She even plays in the puddles with her friends. And one day, another gust of wind makes a hole in her cloud, a hole just big enough to let in the sun and make a rainbow. This one is a much-needed mental health resource, and it's perfect for any child learning to navigate persistent mental health issues, which are increasingly on the rise, particularly in early elementary schoolers. Mental health books for kids are currently in need and sadly trending, and seasoned author Karen Crossing's lively, affecting text makes for an amusing, heartfelt story that will resonate with readers of all ages. Now, readers who liked books like The Boy with Big, Big Feelings or 10 Beautiful Things will also appreciate that this one is focused on the SEL competency of self-management. It's also a fresh take on social-emotional learning, showing that a resolution is sometimes learning to live and cope with a challenge. It also would benefit those trying to learn stress management, resilience, and coping skills, while also being a great blend of showing how internal regulation and external support work together. So in short, it's a hardworking little picture book for sure, that definitely explores that life can feel messy and big, and not everything is solved perfectly. Now, this is a lived experience book for sure, as it's Karen's story that is inspired by her own lifelong struggles with mental health. And in her author note, she writes this simple but profound reflection. Some problems can be solved and other problems cannot, and we must learn to live with them. I just love the simplicity of that. All right, friends, last call for that giveaway. What's your favorite picture book to help kids with big feelings? Let us know in the chat. All right. So here's my most favorite part of all previews we do. It is now my pleasure to introduce our esteemed guest, Delia Ruiz, author of Poppy Says I Love You, releasing simultaneously in English and Spanish on March 24th of 2026. Now I'm going to embarrass Delia a little bit here as she comes to the stage and tell you just a little bit about our friend. Delia is a first-generation Latina teacher turned author whose books include 123 Baila, bilingual board book series, and Roky's Pandero Beat, winner of the International Latino Book Award. When she's not writing, Delia is creating teacher materials under her teacher store Adventures on SEL, which is also her social media platform used to showcase diverse picture books, actually diverse books in general, especially Latina, Latinx picture book picks. Now, while Delia is originally from San Antonio, she currently resides with her husband, son, and their pug in Puerto Rico, and hopes to inspire the next generation of writers who also come from immigrant households with books like Poppy. Delia, thank you so much for joining us, and the floor is yours to share Poppy and just how many ways there truly are to say I love you.
Of course. Thank you so much, Charlesbridge, for the invitation. And yes, my name is Delia Reese, and my book is titled A Ways Papi Says I Love You. And in Spanish, it's Las Maneras en que Papi Dice Te Quiero. And it is a story that displays the 5 love languages, family, and also community. And it was inspired by my own upbringing, basically just riding on the truck with my father on the dirt roads as we spent quality time together. And so I wanted to go a little bit beyond that quality time experience and include a story that featured all of the love expressions. So in this book, we get to see a father and daughter take off towards the grocery store, and we see the different ways the dad shows his love, from opening a truck door to giving flowers, and just making sure that the daughter has her seatbelt on. And then at the very end, we actually get to see the daughter express her own love language. And so this topic of love languages and love expression is so important for communication and for self-awareness, for self-management, especially when we do have relationship with others. And understanding these love languages for students helps to identify their emotional needs and their communication preferences. So it helps build that empathy piece when children can recognize that others give and receive appreciation in different ways. And so the love languages as a whole, they help build a more united classroom community, especially when we're giving students attention in a way they prefer. I know when I was in the classroom, I know I had students who preferred a high five, a hug, a note, or even just getting a little token from the goodie box. And so this book dives a little bit deeper into the love languages with back matter at the end, just to take these conversations a little bit further and learn more about our preferred way to give and receive love, whether that's adults or kids. And so, one of the things that I really enjoyed seeing about this book, especially when I got to see the previews, were seeing these illustrations by Carlos Vélez Aguilera. And when I saw the pictures, it took me back to my childhood on those dirt roads. And funny enough, I recently had a chat with an ESL classroom where many of the students were from rural areas. Some of them were from Mexico, Guatemala, and Honduras in that classroom. And we looked at examples of Carlos's illustrations and compared it how the homes there and the stores in the communities were different to the ones here in the US. And so while this story doesn't explicitly say where it takes place, it does bring people together who do come from rural places, and they're able to see kind of like that slice of home. And it shows the different ways that communities do look different and are just as beautiful, even if they look different than our own. And so, again, with the Carlos's illustrations, there's this beautiful element of community throughout the whole book. As the father and daughter are kind of going through the truck ride, they're saying hello to all the community members, just waving as they pass through the town. And so, in the book, you'll actually get to see an ice cream vendor, a teacher, a farmer, and just others throughout the community. And so I know it just reminded me back when I used to teach a community helpers unit in the classroom, how nice it would have been to have several examples of different communities in the urban space and also in the rural space. And so Carlos did a beautiful job showing people in action and showing people doing their jobs within the community space. And yeah, his illustrations are so beautiful, and I'm very, very happy to see that representation there. And so this book, like I said, is called Ways Papi Says I Love You, and it is available in English and Spanish. And as someone who is a Spanish speaker and is raising a bicultural child, I'm so grateful that seeing I'll be able to use these books side by side to build on language. And this is not just important for me, but I'm sure for many other families and families that are raising bilingual and bicultural kids, when they get to see their home language and characters who look like them on this page, and it just helps validate their identity. I know it did that for me when I was younger. And so, just a recent example, I actually shared the digital version of this story, the Spanish digital version, with my dad like about a month ago. And my dad actually turned 62 this year, and he read the book, and then he told me, like, this is the first time that I've read a story like this where I get to see pictures of a ranch that looks like mine. And that was so powerful because even though my dad read to us stories in Spanish, I don't think that we had a book where it was like, oh, that looks like home. And so it was just a very proud moment. And it kind of goes back to the fact that, picture books are for everyone. And kids get to see themselves represented, but also adults who share that joy might see themselves on the page too. And so, yeah, with bilingual literature and just books available in English and Spanish, they're so helpful. I know for me, when I grew up in a lower income household, I heavily relied on the public library and my own school library for books. So having access to this bilingual and Spanish literature was so valuable in my childhood, and I'm sure it's just as valuable today. And having these books from all places of life just signals to children that learning languages and seeing different cultures, different places is valuable, it's beautiful, but it's also exciting. It's exciting to learn about a whole new place. So, with that, I hope you truly enjoy the story and use it as a resource to touch on the ways to receive and give love to others.
Oh, Delia, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing all of that. I'm seeing so much love for this, for your content, for the illustrations, for sharing your dad's reaction. Thank you for that. I think we all are smiling and tearing up a little bit hearing that for sure. And I just want to pose a few questions to you, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
I first want to know, how did you come to writing? Because you were a teacher to start, right? And now this is a second move for you in a career.
Yes, that's such a great question. I actually know so many teachers that want to write a book one day too. And I always tell everyone, there's room at the table for all of us. And for my journey, I was teaching ESL, English as a Second Language, about 10 years ago. And I remember I would want to pull these books so I could build background knowledge for my students. And oftentimes I wasn't finding enough either Spanish literature or bilingual literature that they could relate to. And so it's kind of like the thing when we often hear it's like, well, if it's you don't see it on the shelf, why not write it? And so I kind of like went with that message and I was like, yeah, I should write it. And so that's how I ventured into that journey. And I stepped away from my educator role, even though I'm always an educator at heart. And yeah, now I get to touch students and classrooms in different ways. And now it's through the beauty of literature.
I love that. And I agree with you 1,000% that quality educators like yourself never, even if you were not teaching day to day in a classroom, you never stop being a teacher. You never stop being an educator for sure. It's in your blood. I know you do some school visits for sure. And I want to know, because kids are amazing and curious, what's the best question that you've ever gotten from a student?
Oh, that's a good question. So one specific question that I got maybe on my last school visit when I was with this ESL classroom and we looked at 3 or 4 illustration scenes, I had a student tell me like, that looks like my house. And they're like, where are you from? Long story short, we figured out that we were from the exact same state in Mexico and the exact same town.
Oh my
And like I
gosh.
had to call my mom after, and I was like, "Do you know this family?" Because of course, with families, they're like, "Do you know the last name family?" And my mom's like,
Yep.
"Is that so and so?" And it just went to this rabbit hole. Long story short, like, yeah, we were from like the same town, so that was like one very specific question that I got. It's like, "Where are you from in this exact place?" And I don't think I've ever gotten a question so specific. And it was because the child recognized, I guess, I think it might have been the plaza scene that looked very familiar to our own. But yeah, that was a very fun question that I got not too long ago.
That's crazy. That's insane. It's actually that it's well, I guess it's proof that it is a small world, particularly when we're
Yes.
talking about quality content for kids. So we've got a question in the chat asking, are you working on any other stories?
Yes, I actually have another project with Charlesbridge coming out in May of 2026, and it's titled Moon Chef, and the bilingual version is Chef Luna. It is a board book, and it is part of the Steamworks book collection. It's all focused on STEM, and it basically ties the phases of the moon with Latina food. So if you ever want to take a deep dive and like explore the moon phases and also fill your tummy with all these yummy foods, then that is a fun board book. So that one is coming out next year, and that's my other project in 2026.
Oh my gosh. And I've seen early signs of Chef Luna, and I have to tell you, don't read it while hungry. That's my tip.
Yes.
All right. So another question we've got from the chat is, what did it feel like to learn when your book was going to be published, especially as it's about such a special relationship in your life?
Yeah, so I think every author has like the book of their heart, and this one is mine, because it ties in my personal experience, and it just ties in like this universal theme of love that anyone could relate to. And so when I found out that it had been acquired and then it was going to get published and then it has an actual date, like all those moments I celebrated. And, I feel like it's so important to celebrate all the little steps along the way. So, yeah, it was truly exciting to hear about. And I'm still overjoyed because it's only a few months before it's released into the world. And hopefully everyone can see the beautiful illustrations in their hand and share it with others, because even if you don't come from a rural community, you might have students, you might have others who can relate to it and see the beauty of some of these places. And for me, that's this book.
I love that. I love that for sure. And I have to tell you too, that just for those of us that are watching this on screen, the illustrations are beautiful on screen. The color on the page is even more vibrant. So please, please, please look at a physical copy here. All right, another question for you. What kinds of classroom conversations do you hope this book will inspire? That's a really good one.
Yeah, ultimately, I think the big piece of the five love languages helps with the whole communication piece when you're building that classroom community. I know sometimes as teachers, we look at, well, let's look at different learning styles, but it's also just important to see what are some of the ways that children prefer to get praise. And so I know sometimes, and I've done it before as teachers, I just want to hug all my students and high five all my students. But it's also important to know that students have preferences on how they want attention. And so having like a deeper discussion on five love languages allows you to explore and get to know your students on a deeper level. And ultimately, they're able to receive that affection and praise in a way that they would like as well.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And it just brings down so many barriers for kids that aren't necessarily the ones that want a hug or do want that high five or can take praise vocally. There are so many ways to communicate and connect, not only with your students, but also with your fellow classmates. Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, friends, Delia, thank you so much for sharing some of your precious time with us today. We truly appreciate it. We are so honored that you have allowed Charlesbridge to bring Ways Poppy Says I Love You to the world, March 24th of 2026, you all. Make sure that you do fill out the form so that we can send you the copy that you'll be receiving as a result of joining us today in the chat. And with that, we thank you all for sharing a little of your time with us today. We love our community of readers, and we look forward to sharing even more books with you the next go round. Thank you so much. Happy reading.